Um, we've had a variety of questions around, and I know we've covered this, but if we could kind of just do a recap. How do I recognise masking behaviours in my child? And what's the best way? Somebody says to support my child, somebody else says, how do I help them to unmask?
The best way to support all of this is to engender authenticity in them. And that comes from validating their experiences, helping them to understand who they are, what their needs are, and the things that they will need to be able to get through day to day life. Also, helping them understand that people will treat them negatively, and that isn't always deliberate. Sometimes it will be deliberate, but it's because there is a massive misperception of what autism is out there. The child themselves might feel stigmatized towards the label, and towards their own experiences and their own experiences of being different. So, you can't force a child not to feel that way, but you can validate their experiences and help them to understand that. And basically, at home, you need to create as safe a place as possible for them, where their needs are being met, where their sensory profiles are understood, where, where the trauma is recognized and talked about. Something that we do all the time with our children is that we don't hide them from things. If there are events going on in the world, we will talk about them. The narratives around how trans people are being talked about at the moment is a big topic of conversation in our house. And I have a 9-year old and a near 12-year old and a 13-year old. So these are children being, we're having discussions, adult discussions, what would be perceived as adult discussions about really complex topics, but they're important topics because they're important to my children and they're important to me, and they're a part of our narrative and part of recognizing what's going on in the world and why people think the way that they do. And lots of parents shy away from those difficult topics because we want to protect our children. And yeah, obviously we don't talk about graphic and gruesome things, but we sometimes do, and when the conversations get there. But it's about being open and honest and removing that hierarchy. We can only control that at home, though. We can't control what the rest of the world does. So we have to empower our children to be able to create safe spaces for themselves and be as authentic as they can and have as much control and autonomy and agency over their lives in order to be able to go out there. And I'm a privileged 43-year-old nearly who I create my own safe spaces. I choose who I work with. I'm self-employed. I go where I want and I do what I want and I engage with who I want. But children don't have that much element of control over their lives. So we have to empower them as best we can so that when they do start to get control, they're ready to take it and they're ready to own it and they're ready to have those boundaries with people that we talked about.